and the ultra conservatives, of course, base their worldview on neoclassical economics, and they made a fundamental mistake about neoclassical economics, as that because of Milton Friedman, who believed that you could have a fiat money system, of course, which you could control the value of by increasing the supply of money or decreasing the supply of money. They didn't understand that in terms of money and currency are two different things. You can control the supply of currency, but the actual true value of money, because money cannot be, if money is a unit of value, your unit of value is in line with your ability to exploit natural resources, which can be limited or relatively unlimited if you can use them again, recycle them. And so the value of money is only being changed by, is only being interpreted through currency, in my view. And of course the amount of debt that's created. So banking, as it became more and more complicated, was able to create more and more debt. They were then able to, even through credit swap defaults, even insure things that they didn't own and gain the insurance when they collapsed. So investments collapsed by if, for instance, if you default, if you take out a mortgage, they will sell that on to 100 or more banks maybe. So it will be leveraged out and create more and more money every time you take out a loan. In terms of what is a bank is any organisation which lends short and invests long. So anyone who's an investor or if you get a loan, it's almost instantly created that you have credit in your own account, and then you go on to use all those. You think that that's real money, but that is actually you to buy real things. But you've actually been duped into leveraging out more and more money to gain stuff that you don't necessarily need, because and the incentive is there because it's creating inflation to go and buy more and more stuff, because you know the prices are going to go up later on. That's why you get people shooting each other, right, at sales in America on Black Friday. Complete irrationality. Okay, but yet if you default on that loan, someone can make a bet that you will default on that loan for a credit swap default and gain the insurance, because you from the government or the bank, which will, of course will then demand the money from the government and they will make a profit out of that. I think it was Kyle Bass who made $1 billion out of the housing bubble going bust, because he leveraged out all this money on and waited and waited and waited, and it's although it's the big long really, you can see that in a book called The Big Short. Okay, read about it anyway. And also, when you've got investors who are through the idea of another neoclassical Thatcherite ultra conservative idea of rational expectations, that the market is always rational, which is based on a fundamentally false premise. That all people are the same, and that everyone acts the same to the same incentives, or vice versa, and that all goods are the same. Which is obviously not true, No goods is completely homogeneous, or any person completely homogeneous in their actions, and we don't all think the same way. But they want a world where the market has such power to psychologically enslave people to the market, to market forces. Anyway, these ideas of rational expectation mean that if you can make someone act irrationally rather than rationally, which is the converse, which is a converse statement, really. Rational expectations are seldom rational in terms of the market because people don't know all the information about the market that's going on. No one could possibly know because there's so many different economic agents working for or against each other. So it's, in short, it's the herd mentality, and they've tried to. Karl Bass has tried to get people to believe that the eurozone will fail. He and his investor friends have got $2 trillion dollars of assets, so or at least backing by of that much to try and bring the eurozone down. So of course the eurozone has had to create a financial stability fund of €4 trillion to euros to try and keep the euro up. There are structural inabilities within in the euro, but as more and more debt is created and more of the ability to create money is taken from the government, which is democratically accountable, and the educational system doesn't encourage critical thinking. What does your vote really mean? If you're bombarded by signals from the market and you take your cue from that rather than from democratic virtues or just simply human virtues, or the link between kinship, i.e. the nation, and ethnicity in some cases, or the cultural and constitutional values of your nation, and you're loyal to those, and the link between kinship and loyalty is broken, then what is your vote worth? Because you don't have all the facts. The commentators in the news are not necessarily in on it. They might have a community of interest to sell papers and make salacious gossip, as the Murdoch Empire has done, by destroying people's reputations to sell newspapers because of media power plays. But varying different power groups, whether they be legitimate or criminal, have a community of interest to make you no less than politicians or economists, and it's not politicians or economists who necessarily benefit from it. Even people in the crime families, such as the Bin Ladens or the people who run Exxon and Halliburton, have political ideas that they've gotten from economists. As Keynes said, we are all slaves to some defunct economists, and as von Hayek said, economics is the science of telling people how little they know about what they think they can design or understand. And of course, so economics can be a sort of totalitarian religion in some regard, and a defunct religion in Steve Keen's view, although he bases his views on Keynesianism. His radical idea, as you waited through 3 parts of this video, is to let the banks go bankrupt, nationalise or nationalise the international financial system. As Keynes said, he wanted a central bank of central banks, which does exist. It's in Switzerland, and that the central banks would be completely under the and the creation of money would be completely under government control. And of course, this fiscal integration would eventually lead to basically globalisation. I'm not for globalisation. I'm for regionalisation. It's just the European Union, the Americans, and basically the Western world coming together rather than the Eurasian, African, even South American areas, or the Far East.